Okay, hello everyone. It's time to get back to school and to your lessons with raised spirits after a wonderful Christmas and New Year holidays. And I want to wish you a happy New Year and opportunity for each and everyone. I believe that New Year is a time to set new goals and to make new resolutions, and at the same time to work hard to achieve this. Make this coming year a new beginning for all your pending tasks to complete them with more energy and zeal. And I wish everyone a focused and dedicated 2021. With this new year comes another time, another opportunity, another another year to learn everything. So let's start this year with learnings in our subject, which is pre-calculus, and our focus for this week is on trigonometric identities. Okay, based sa ating yung mga naklase ang last, we were able to use these identities pero wala talang nabalaan yung tawag sila is ratio identities. So we were able to use tangent ng mga functions, also cotangent. So wala lang takabalo that they are referred to as ratio identities kung ara sila sa form na sine over cosine for tangent and cosine over sine for cotangent. So that is ratio identities. Next one, nagamit na naman isang last ninyong mga activities, ang last ninyong nga klase. So we have reciprocal identities. Okay, reciprocal identities ang tawag sang sine nga ang iyang reciprocal is 1 over cosecant. For cosine, ang iyang reciprocal is 1 over secant, and for cotangent, ang iyang reciprocal identity is 1 over tangent. So kung nakita ninyo, ang ginagamit natin dari ang ginagamit nga variable dari is t. So okay lang na siya sa ano lang variable, you can use theta, you can use a, you can use b, as long as that variable should represent a certain angle. Okay, ang focus natin sa discussion for this week is on Pythagorean identities. So, if you look on the figure, if we are going to find the value of sine of a certain angle na theta, so ang sine mo is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse is y, which is our opposite, r is our hypotenuse, so we have to find sa and for our cosine theta, ang value cosine is for adjacent over hypotenuse, so we have x all over r. Okay, we have the value sine and cosine of a certain angle nga theta. If we square both sides of the equation, for sine square natin siya, so we have sine squared theta, squaring y over r, so that is y squared over squared. Same man sa cosine theta, we have cosine squared theta equals to x squared all over r squared. Okay, we formed a right triangle. So, pwede natin ma-apply ang Pythagorean theorem. So, if we apply sa Pythagorean theorem sa ating right triangle, we will have square of the sides. I-add ang squares ng duwa ka sides. It will be equal sa square of your hypotenuse. So, sa atong figure, it will be x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. Then, kung mabalik kita sa aton nga equation A, we have pwede natin mag-use ang x squared kag y squared. So, x squared will be, so multiply natin ang r squared dito sa piyak, it will be r squared cosine squared theta. Same man sa y squared, multiply natin ang r squared sa piyak, we will have r squared sine squared theta. So, substitute lang kita diri, then copy natin ang r squared. This time kung tan-awon naton may kita common nga term sa duha ka term, so we will have pwede naton ma-factor out ang r squared. Then ang mabilin is cosine squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to r squared. Okay, we can divide both side by r squared. So ang matabo, cosine squared theta plus sin squared theta ang mabilin sa left side of our equation equals r squared all over r squared. So, if we simplify this one, kuha natin ang Pythagorean identity nga cosine squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 1. So, that is for Pythagorean identities. Okay, if gamito na to ng same na process, we will come up with these identities. May ara kita tatlo ka Pythagorean identities. So we have, ang nasolve na dun kagina, relating cosine and sine, we have cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta is equal to 1. We also have 1 plus tangent squared theta is equal to secant squared theta. And may ara man kita 1 plus cotangent squared theta is equal to cosecant squared theta. So, amo na siyang tatlo ka Pythagorean identities. So, pwede na nga tandaan nyo na da siya or pwedeng isulat sa index card. Kung may index card ka mo, pwede ibutang sa inyo notes because this will be used sa aton nga next ka mga activities. So, we have Pythagorean identities. Okay, another identities, we have ratio identities nga gin-mention naton kagina. So, nahambal na klase na natin kagina or na-discuss na niya about sa ratio identities. But I would like to present sang medyo hapos nga way kung paano natin i-identify or paano natin masaulo ang ratio identities. So, kung nakita niyo, kita figure which is a hexagon. So, medyo para amo na ni siya nga aton gamiton ang aring nga figure ang hexagon para hindi na kamo masyado gid nga magbalik-balik sang mga sa ulo or mibukad pa sa notes if you are familiar with isang sini nga hexagon. So tangent, tanawon lang kung anong mas lapit sa tangent. So sa sini nga klase ang gamiton naton is sine and cosine ng for ratio identities. Take note lang, we are using sine and cosine kay dara naton mas hapos i-simplify ang aton nga mga equations. And we are more familiar with sine and cosine. So, ang muna ang gamiton natin is sine and cosine nga functions. So, tangent. So, dili lang ta ma-focus sa abo kaya rin ang sine and cosine. So, take note kung anong mas lapit sa tangent, ang muna yung numerator. So, and then ang next na is your denominators. Anong mas lapit sa tangent? That is sine. So, that is sine over cosine. So, you move from here, for cotangent naman, anong mas lapit sa cotangent? Mas lapit sa cotangent ang cosine. Sine. So, mo lang siya mag-identify sa ratio identities gamit ang hexagon. This one, kagina yung testar man nato yung reciprocal identities, but pwede man nato siya kunuko ang reciprocal identities gamit sa siniman Japon same nga hexagon. Reciprocal identities, kung ano ang ara sa opposite niya sa hexagon, so amo na siyang iyang reciprocal identity. So we have sine. Okay, sine and also secant. So sine is equals to 1 over cosecant. Pwede man na cosecant is equal to 1 over sine. Basta ang ara sa opposite niya. Cosine. Ang opposite sa cosine, opposite niya is secant. So we have 1 over secant. Reciprocal. Tangent is 1 over tangent. So take note lang kung anong opposite niya sa hexagon. This time naman, Pythagorean identities. Sir, paano naman gamito ng hexagon for Pythagorean identities? So, take note, if ang pangitaon natin is Pythagorean identities, lantawon lang natin ang yellow nga triangle. Yellow nga triangle. So, we have and then another plane. Sir, paano sir? So, kung nakita ninyo may ara kamo duwa ka vertices sa babaw, sa sang imong triangle nga yellow, and then may ara ka vertex sa dalom. So, ang duwa ka vertices sa babaw, i-add nimo squared. I-add mo sila nga naka-squared. And same man sa kag ang imong dayon nga answer, ang imong equals is ang vertex sa dalom nga naka-squared man. Okay. So, we know nga kung i-square mo ang 1, 1 na siya pa ng answer. So, bisan hindi ka na mag 1 squared, automatic 1 na lang. So, we have, so, para sa babaw, triangle, we have sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. So, ari na siya. Okay, sige. Next, para sa aring triangle, we have tangent plus 1 equals secant squared. So take note, dapat may upod nga angle ha, but ginapa-simplify ito na lang masapos lang sa inyo nga sa ulohon. So, okay, para sa next gamitan ta angle, we have 1 plus cosecant squared theta is equals to cosecant squared theta. Okay? So, ang bulo na medyo pahapuson naton mag sa ulo sang Pythagorean identities. Kaya kinanglan na to ng atong mga identities na ginpang mention because we are going to use it in verifying certain ng mga identities. So, paano sir ang mag-verify sang identities? So, in verifying identities, we will be given a certain equation. Kaya ang ating kinanglan himon is to prove that equation nga identity sila. So, the best strategy is to work with only one side and then substitute the expression using the identities na pang-mention natin. The goal is to manipulate one side to look like the other side. So, i-manipulate mo isa ka side para dapat ma-equal siya sa imong another side. Okay, for example, we have sine x times cotangent x times secant x is equal to 1. Tanawan natin kundiin ang simple. So, ang mas simple, dari syempre ang right side of the equation, kaya 1 na lang siya. So, ang kinanglan natin i-manipulate is this left side of the equation para dapat ang aton answer will be equal to 1. Okay, in manipulating this, so, matapos kung ang imong mga equations, i-convert nimo into sine and cosine or ang imong mga function. So, we have copy sine x. Cotangent x, convert natin into sine and cosine. So, gamit ratio identity. Ratio identity sa cotangent is cosine x, sine x. So, we have this one. Then, we have secant x. Secant x, gamito natin ang reciprocal identity sa secant x, which is 1 over cosine x is equal to 1. Okay, so muna na siya dayon, pwede na dayon natin makancel ang cosine, pwede na natin makancel ang sine x. Automatic, we have 1 sa atong nga left side sa equation which is equal to 1. So we have proven and verified that indeed an identity. Okay, here is another step in trying to solve or verify certain identities. So as what was discussed, kagina, mas hapos ko ni change mo into sine and cosine. Kaya medyo familiar kita sa sine and cosine, kag medyo hapos i-manipulate ang equation kung ara siya sa sine and cosine nga form. Unless na lang kung nakita nimo nga ara na siya daan sa imo nga identities, bisan hindi mo na siya pagdalon into sine and cosine. Okay, and after nimo convert into sine and cosine, you can use algebraic skills. Pwede i-factor, pwede man nga i-square or inyong algebraic nga operations. Then, ang pinakahapos, especially if ang imong equation is minikita kada nga naka-squared, so masapos nga gamitan nimo sang Pythagorean identities. And take note nga ang kinahanglan nimo himuon is to work on one side. So work on one side ng imong goal dapat may kuha siya sa isa ka side. Okay, and another tip lang, if you have certain equation, yung meron ka 1 minus sine x, try multiplying the numerator with conjugate niya. So, kung ang given 1 minus sine x, multiply ka sa iya conjugate which is 1 plus sine x para ma-squared mo sila, perfect square. Then, ang imong answer then will be 1 minus sine squared x. Okay, example. Example, identity cotangent theta plus 1 is equal to cosecant theta times cosine theta plus sine theta. So, kung tanawin natin, mas simpler ang sa left side sa equation, mas simple ni siya. So, ang kinanglan natin ang side of the equation nga dapat ang cotangent theta. So, hamba kagina masapos kung i-change natin siya into sine and cosine. So, amo na natin himuon. So, cosine theta. So, since single lang siya nga variable, pero single lang siya nga function, masapos na gamiton yung masapos gamiton ang reciprocal identity. Cosecant theta is equals to 1 over sine theta. Then, multiplied by cosine theta plus sine theta. Hindi ito naman siya kinangalan i-cosine kag sine, kaya naka-cosine kag sine na siya daan nga format. So, we have multiply naton 1 over sine theta plus cosine theta plus 1 times sine 1 over sine theta times sine theta. So, we have cosine theta over sine theta plus over sine theta. So take note, sine theta over sine theta is equal to 1. So automatic 1. So based on our ratio identity, cosine over sine is cotangent theta. So we proved and we verified the identity. Okay, another example, prove the following identities. 1 minus sine squared theta over cosine theta is equal to cosine theta. Okay, solution. So we have given some equation. So take note, based sa ating Pythagorean identities, we have some equation relating sine and cosine. So we have sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. So, pwede natin sa linandri ang sine squared mo siyang 1 minus sine squared. So this is 1 minus sine squared is equal to cosine squared. So take note, pwede rin siya halin sa ating first na equation. So we have cosine squared theta 1 over cosine theta is equal to cosine theta. Then, pwede na natin ma-factor out. Ang cosine squared theta, pwede natin kuhaan ng isa. So, ang mabiling cosine theta na lang, then cancel out ang cosine. So, ang mabilin is cosine theta. And then, equal siya sa ating right side of equation. Therefore, na-prove natin pag na-verify ang identity. Okay, another example we have. Sorry, medyo lawig na identity. Prove the following identities. Sine squared x plus tangent squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to secant squared x. Okay, solution. So take note, may ara kita sine and cosine. Okay, we have sine squared x plus cosine squared x. So take note, so we have sine squared plus cosine squared. Sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. Then copy na plus tangent squared x. Then copy ang secant squared x. Ang answer will be equal to secant squared x. Next, ang nabili na natin, tanawan natin is 1 plus tangent squared x. Okay, naka-squared sa Pythagorean identity. So 1 plus tangent squared x, so may agad dari sa identity. 1 plus tangent squared x is equals to secant squared x. And then we proved and verified that this is indeed an identity. Okay, another one. Cosine to the fourth x minus sine to the fourth x is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared x. Okay, we have given sa aton raised to the fourth ang cosine kag sine. So, masapos kung imo ni siya i-factor out. So, this is a perfect square. So, pag a to the fourth minus b to the fourth. Okay, parehas lang na siyang meron signification. Galing in the form na siya ay cosine sine. So, kung mag-factor ka, so, squared, square mo ang a plus square of b multiplied by square sang a minus square sang b. So, same man dali. Square ang cosine plus square sang sine multiplied by square sang cosine minus square sang sine. So, we have dapat ang goal nato ng atong answer will be 2 sine squared x. So, take note nga based sa aton nga identity, so Pythagorean identity, we have sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. So, automatically, will be equal to 1. Pagbutangan mo lang this ang 1. Then, cosine squared x minus sine squared x, then copy ang right side of the equation. And take note, ang goal naton is dapat ang aton answer is 1 minus 2 sine squared x. So, may dapat diri cosine, but pwede natin i-convert into sine based sa aton nga unang identities. So, cosine squared is equals to 1 minus sine squared x minus sine squared x. Then, manipulating the equation, we will have 1 minus 2 sine squared x. Then, we have proved and verified the identity. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. And always remember that no lesson is difficult once you start reading it. No goal is difficult to accomplish when you start working hard for it. All you need to do is to always take the first step, and may in this year you take all the first step you missed in the last year. With lots of trust and support for all of you, I am your Sir Selfie, and I wish you a happy new year.